The Hunger Games. Did the books or movies do it better? Let's break it down and decide which version truly outshines. To kick things off, we will look at the differences between the main characters of the series. First up, we have our protagonist, Katniss Everdeen of District 12, played by Oscar winner Jennifer Lawrence. In the books, Katniss is described as having olive skin, black hair, and gray eyes, whereas in the movie she is fair-skinned with brown hair and bluish eyes. She is also described as being smaller than most of the tributes in the book, but in the movies she's taller than most of them, even some of the careers. Next is Peeta Mellark, played by Josh Hutcherson, who is also from District 12 and is selected as tribute alongside Katniss for the 74th Hunger Games. In the books, Peeta is described as having blue eyes, but in the movie he has brown eyes. He's also described as being taller than Katniss in the books, but in the movies he is shorter than she is, and it shows. Gale Hawthorne, played by Liam Hemsworth, is Katniss's best friend from the same district in the series, and he completes the love triangle between Katniss, Peeta, and Gale. Similar to Katniss's description in the books, he had olive skin and black hair, but in the movie he is fair-skinned with dark brown hair. Woody Harrelson plays Haymitch Abernathy, the only living victor who won 24 years ago and is an alcoholic. While the books describe him as being chubby with curly dark hair and gray eyes, the film portrays him as slim with blonde hair and blue eyes. In the books, his alcoholism is far more graphic, such as the scene where he stumbles in vomit during the Reaping recap. The film tones this plot down, showing him as pouring drinks and stumbling over his words, but without the same level of detail. Now, let's talk about some of the biggest story changes between the books and the film adaptations. One major change is the shift of perspective. While the Hunger Games books are told from Katniss's point of view, in the first person, the films often focus on other characters and events. They show the uprisings in other districts and delve into the actions of characters like Haymitch, Gale, and President Snow. These added scenes strengthen the film, particularly by enhancing Snow's role as a villain. In the books, his ruthlessness can often be overlooked, but the movies highlight his cunning and malice, making him a far more formidable foe for Katniss. The golden Mockingjay pin, an iconic symbol of the series, is also acquired differently in the books than in the movies. In the novel, Madge, the mayor's daughter, gives Katniss it before the 74th Hunger Games. However, in the film, Katniss buys it from a black market trader and gives it to Prim as a good luck charm, who then later returns it to Katniss when she volunteers. This change really strengthens the emotional significance, making the pin a symbol of the sisters' bond. In the book, the pin also helps to build the relationship between Katniss and Madge after the games. Another major difference is in the books, Peeta loses his leg after Cato injures it during the arena battle, and the doctors are forced to amputate it after the games. However, this is never really addressed in later books, and Peeta continues without issue. The film omits this detail entirely, likely due to time and the fact that it wouldn't significantly impact the character or the plot. In Catching Fire, Gale's whipping scene is far more intense in the movie than it is in the book. In the book, Gale is whipped for poaching, a crime that was once overlooked, and is saved by Prim's quick-thinking medical help. In the film, however, peacemakers led by Thread make a dramatic entrance, terrorizing District 12, and Gale steps up to stop the violence, leading to his public punishment. This change adds a lot of intensity and emphasizes Gale's defiance against the Capitol. And we need to talk about the fan-favorite character, Effie Trinket. In the books, she is a static character who doesn't really change or even become a strong ally to Katniss. She only helps reluctantly in exchange for amnesty, remaining emotionally distant. In the films, however, Effie's role is expanded by combining Katniss's prep team into her character, making her more likable and adding depth. Effie willingly supports Katniss, taking on an eccentric aunt-like role, likely due to Elizabeth Banks' performance and the filmmaker's choice to simplify the story. Now, let's talk about what the movies got right and where they kind of missed the mark. One of the greatest strengths of the Hunger Games movies is its exceptional cast. Jennifer Lawrence was already fully committed to her role as Katniss Everdeen before she ever became an Oscar winner. Unlike other young adult franchises, the films really prioritize strong performances and solid casting, having that at its core. Josh Hutcherson's portrayal of Peeta stands out, especially with the dynamic where he isn't the traditionally stronger partner. This adds depth to the relationship, and both he and Lawrence bring an emotional complexity to their roles. The cast also includes standout performances from the late Donald Sutherland as President Snow, Harrelson as Haymitch, and Jeffrey Wright as Beetee, making the films a constant rewatch. Another key strength of the Hunger Games movies is how their political messaging has become more relevant today than ever before. They offer a powerful commentary on how those in power can corrupt generations, with Jennifer Lawrence's Katniss sparking a rebellion. The films also address government corruption through a fictional future and explore the exploitation of people in media, issues even more relevant with the rise of reality stars and influencers. The iconic three-finger salute has been adopted by activists worldwide, underscoring the movie's lasting impact and the depth compared to other young adult films. A third strength of the movies is its use of multiple points of view. Unlike the books, which are told from Katniss's perspective, the films expand the narrative by showing scenes with characters like Haymitch, Gale, and Katniss's family. This approach provides a fuller story than the one that author Suzanne Collins started with in the books. Jennifer Lawrence's performance also compensates for the lack of an internal monologue, which was one of the highlights of the books. The films also include Seneca Crane's perspective, showing him in the control room and interacting with President Snow, which adds depth and world building to the story. However, as much as the Hunger Games movies have their strengths, they also faced some significant weaknesses. One major weakness of the movies was the decision to split the last book, Mockingjay, into two parts. This resulted in a slow, dull first part where most of the excitement and key moments were reserved for the final installment. Mockingjay Part 1 spent far too much time setting up how the Capitol was torturing Peeta as a punishment for the rebellion, offering limited backstory for District 13, and quickly introducing characters like Cloyne and the film team, which were great castings. Beyond that, the film largely focuses on Prim's cat and Katniss's interactions with Gale, which felt unnecessary. Additionally, one of the biggest weaknesses is the fact that the first and second films are basically the same. The plot of Catching Fire closely mirrors the first film with only minor differences, mostly at the end. The character development is limited as Katniss is still reluctantly competing in the Hunger Games and Peeta is mostly lingering in the background. While I do enjoy these characters, I definitely didn't feel the need to revisit that same story. The real highlight is the stronger supporting cast, which are there to set the stages for the two-part final film, though many of these new characters are included solely for that purpose. Another weakness of the movies is Gale Hawthorne, who is arguably the most underdeveloped character of the franchise, and that isn't a critique of Liam Hemsworth's performance, who I love. The love triangle between Katniss, Peeta, and Gale fails because Gale lacks any real significant backstory or even a motivation beyond I protect her family. In the first films, Gale works well as a potential love interest, but when Peeta is introduced, Gale's role becomes irrelevant. Both characters could have thrived as solo love interests, but the rivalry undermines Gale's development. If Peeta weren't in the picture, the relationship between Katniss and Gale could have been explored more deeply, with Gale helping Katniss process her trauma from the Hunger Games. However, Peeta's own shared experiences with Katniss make him a stronger connection for her. He not only understands her pain, but he also has his own struggles, giving depth to their bond. Meanwhile, Gale's lack of understanding leaves him less relatable both to Katniss and to audiences, making Peeta the clear choice. Alright, so which one wins, the books or the movies? For me, I think the movies win. They expand the story and world of Panem, deepens the characters, and adds emotional depth and representation, even if splitting up the last book was a mistake in my mind. But what do you think? Do you think the adaptations do the books justice, or are you a books purist? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and I will see you next time right here on Collider.